Hello and welcome. My name is Sina, the CEO and co-founder of Wing, a B2B networking software tool. I'm joined by Chris Shields, the president of Lovely Made Ingredients. Chris, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, Sina.
I want to jump in straight to the questions because we've got a few and I really want to get your take on them. So you're using innovative ingredients, equipment, and processes to create unique textured plant protein. So what role do alternative proteins play in the future of our food systems, would you say?
I think they're a completely key component to the future. If we look at just the growth in population, we're expected to hit 10 billion people by 2050. And the current food system isn't designed in a way to support that. So that massive increase in population is going to require different and alternative options. So animal agriculture cannot scale to that level without causing destructive issues. So what we need to be able to do is provide alternative proteins, whether that's plant proteins like we provide, whether that's cell-based or other technologies that we haven't yet seen. As an example, we create an ingredient that creates plant-based products. So this would be used in a meat analog, such as the Meatless Farm products that we have. It can also be incorporated just into meat dishes as well. So you don't lose that same sensory experience. So we can tackle all different areas of it. And that gives us the ability to feed that 10 billion people.
And those are sort of two problems that kind of come hand in hand, right? It's the consumer demand of the growing population and the sustainability angle, right? So how is innovation and technology actually playing a role in what you're doing to meet that customer demand and sustainability, to feed that growing population?
Yeah, and the way I like to think about when we talk about innovation is it's almost the 80% internal and 20% external, like the development of new technologies and new processes. But the big focus that we look on is how we innovate internally first. So by creating a sustainable operation, not just environmentally sustainable, but to provide profitability that allows us the ability to then do that 20% innovation, which is driving the next line of products, whether that's for us, we look all the way back to the variety of seed that goes in the ground. And picking the right product to go in the ground first allows everything else downstream to work that little bit easier and that little bit better. And that gives us the next generation, the next protein that people are looking for, or even just making the protein that they already have that little bit better. And that's kind of a key component for us. Then we look at the processes and the technology that comes from that, whether that's fermentation or different methods of extrusion. There is still a ton of opportunity in that space too.
Got you. And you talked about protein specifically there, but in terms of like the space as a whole, so how do you actually see like technology and innovation changing the face of agriculture in the next sort of 10 years?
And the agriculture side, I think, is probably the most exciting element to it. And it's one of the reasons we are based where we are in Calgary, Alberta. There is so much happening in the agricultural space. We often look at the consumer side and what that person experiences, but the work that goes on right back to the farm level is way bigger than most people would probably realize, whether that's precision application of the fertilizers that are needed, whether that's just robots that are pulling out weeds from the ground that are taking that competition out, as well as just variety development, seed breeding, all natural processes and just pushing things along, as well as the ability to harvest and pull less waste from those things too.
But the thing, so you mentioned Calgary specifically there. You're a company that's based in the UK. Why Calgary and why Canada specifically? So for that level of expansion?
Yeah, and it's a question we get a lot. We took that jump, obviously being a UK-based startup a few years ago, to creating another startup in that startup on the other side of the world. But Calgary and Alberta as a province has such a wealth of expertise in agriculture and obviously scale. Alberta alone is 2.5 times the size of the UK. There's typically over 1.5 million tons of peas grown every year here. So there's an ability to pull from expertise that allows us to bring change at scale. So we're involved, like I said, with everything from variety production, the farming methods, all the way on the other side of the Meatless Farm, we have the consumer end. So we kind of bridge these two pieces together in the middle. that allows us to innovate across the whole supply chain. I think that's what really sets the Lovingly Made Ingredients and Meatless Farm businesses apart from others, is that we have that connection at all ends of the scale.
That's the first time I've really heard about Calgary. And I think a lot of people listening is the same sort of thing. So you mentioned a lot of things there about Calgary. What's your sort of like favorite thing about Calgary for people who don't know the city?
Can I have two?
Yeah, sure. Go on.
So these sound like they would be the reasons you would do this in the first place, but we're within 2 hours of 4 ski hills. So from a winter perspective, we have quite a long winter here in Calgary. The ability to get out and ski through the winter, having, gone from the office that afternoon, to thousands of kilometers of bike trails. And then just within the city, you can disappear off into a park or trail and not feel like you're in the city at all. So you get that escape from the city feeling while still being in the city. So the kids have so much opportunity just to experience wildlife and experience within the city as well as outside the city.
Well, Chris, thank you so much. Those are all the questions. So absolute pleasure talking with you and learning more about Lovingly Made Ingredients and also like learning more about Calgary. So thank you so much for joining me. And I'm sure we'll chat very soon.
Yeah, no, thank you.